Hey Jim, Happy New Year. I want to ask you about Wooga, how he's doing. What's the status on him, do you think, for Wednesday? And what is the team missing when he doesn't play? You obviously have a lot of players who can score on this team. What does the team miss when he's not on the floor? Thanks.
Well, we miss our leading scorer. We got a lot of good guys who can score, but he's really, really good. He's at the top of that list. There's four guys on our team that are very, very hard to guard and can produce a lot of points. Nigel Pack, Wooga Poplar, Matthew Cleveland, and Norshad Omir. But we also have guys like Keyshawn George who's stepping up, and Bensley Joseph, who's very capable of having double figures. But we want Wooga back. We're hoping he'll be back by Wednesday, but we won't know that till Wednesday.
So it's day to day. It's day to day with him.
Yeah, like we practice in a couple of hours. It's now 11. We practice at 1. We'll see how he does then.
Can I ask one follow-up on Keyshawn? A big breakthrough game the other day. You said earlier on that you were hoping for him to be more, aggressive, more this. Can you talk about his evolution the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, well, we've been encouraging him. I wouldn't say kicking him in the butt, but he's heard my wrath a few times in the last couple of weeks because I've been waiting very patiently for him to take major steps forward. And in these last games, he has. So hopefully he can keep that up.
Thanks.
We'll go next to Isabel Charles. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Just a few days removed from Wake Forest game now. Just what are your thoughts about what was the biggest difference down the stretch, and just what do you want to see from your guys heading into this matchup against Louisville?
Well, I would say this. I'm very, very proud of the guys and how hard they fought on the road, a lot of adversity. First playing without our leading scorer, Wigga Poplar, and then Nigel Pack sprains his ankle, then Norshad Omir sprains an ankle. We got in early foul trouble with Bensley Joseph. And yet we found a way to actually pull ahead and had a chance to win it in regulation. And, sometimes the ball goes in and sometimes it doesn't. So in overtime, we got a quick lead on them. But the most disappointing thing is we didn't rebound the ball the way we needed to in the overtime. They tipped the ball out on 2 occasions right near us, and they out hustled us for the ball. And that led to another foul and another basket. So we just need to be a little bit more consistent. I think it'll help if we're healthy. But as I said, we're not only dealing now with a ankle sprain by Wooga Poplar, but now we got to deal with it with Nigel Pack and Norshad Omir.
We'll go next to Brooks Holton. Go ahead, Brooks.
Hey, Jim. For Louisville, Brandon Huntley Hatfield's a big part of what they're doing. I think teams have definitely made him a point of emphasis of the past 2 games and tried to slow him down. I think he's had 12 points between the last 2 games after having 3 straight double doubles. As you scout them, and what are some things you can do to try to slow him down and to try to, when this team is so shorthanded, to try to, make the ball go to guys who haven't had as much, much time running the court as others in the team?
Well, first of all, I think Louisville is a much improved team from not only a year ago, but even just a month ago. The way they're sharing the ball, the balance in their offense, they're getting some great play inside. They're doing a lot of posting up, a lot of 2-point baskets. But then their guards are very much like Wake Forest's guards. They're very hard to guard. So I think Johnson and Sky and Mike James are a very formidable backcourt. They can all handle. They can all shoot it. They can all score it. And I like their team right now. I think they're playing well.
I'll go next to David Teal.
Jim, how has Norshad refined and improved his game from last season when obviously he had a huge impact?
Well, I would say this, David. The first thing is Norshad went on that NBA tour. He did a lot of tryouts and got a lot of feedback from the NBA. And they were all saying that, hey, you need to handle the ball more, you need to shoot some threes, and work on your defense and stuff. So he's taken that to heart. He's doing a very good job. He's handling the ball more and better. He's shooting threes more and better than last year. And he's always been a tremendous competitor at the defensive end of the floor as a post defender and as a rebounder. So I think he's, an all conference caliber player, having a great year. He's so valuable for us. We got to have him on the floor. He went out for 2 minutes against Wake Forest the other day, and all of a sudden we're down. I think they outscored us like 10-0.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Chris Stock. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Coach, when Wuga returns, are you considering leaving Keyshawn in that starting lineup, or do you still like, having Bensley in that top group with everything he brings to the team, especially his defense?
Well, right now, we have 7 guys that I feel very, very confident and comfortable in them rotating with each other because they're all versatile. So we have the veteran crew that started most of the games until, Nigel got hurt and now Wooga got hurt. So we have Nigel Bensley, Wooga, Matthew Cleveland, Norshad Omier, Keyshawn George, and AJ Casey. And so those 7 guys have really earned the right to play as many minutes as they can earn on the floor. So we're going to play those 7 and rotate them. And then Christian Watson and Michael Nwako need to be ready because you never know what's going to happen with foul trouble or sickness or injury. So hopefully those guys can really stay ready as well.
Go back to Michelle Kaufman.
Jim, I want to ask a follow-up on ankles. You mentioned Nigel and Norchad. They both still played, later in the game. Are they 100% for Wednesday, or are they still hobbling a little bit?
Oh, no, they're definitely not 100%. I'd say Nigel's in the worst shape. He really helped us by playing, but looking back on it now, would we have done the same thing even with the sprain? Yes, but he's going to need some rest right now.
And Norchad, you think he'll be able to go Wednesday?
Norshad's a different kind of human being. He's like if you hurt a lion, how does he respond? Well, he just gets angry and is more aggressive. So I think Norshad will be fine.
Thank you.
We'll squeeze one quick final question in from Jody Demling.
Hey, Jim. Jovanovic is a guy that you recruited, obviously was with you guys all last year. He got his first start for Louisville on Saturday. Now they've had some injuries. His minutes have been going up. Can you just talk about what you see? You had him for a year, what he kind of brings to a team, and what you've seen him grow this year now that he's at Louisville?
Well, the first thing is, last year when he came to us, he was injured a good bit of the preseason. And by the time the season started, he came into me and said, hey, I think I should redshirt. So we confirmed that that's what his family wanted. And so we redshirted him last year. When he finally got healthy and I'd say 100% healthy, was probably late December, early January, and he practiced and played very well. And he looked like he was going to be able to make a very, very nice contribution. I see, what we saw in high school, the way he played. We see it, him playing for Louisville now. He can transport the ball, move the ball, find the open man. He can hit the open shot. He's good at cutting. He's a good team-oriented player.
Just wanted to get an update on Trey and Manny's injury status. Do you think that they're going to practice today?
I hope they practice today. Hadn't heard yet. It's still early in the morning for them. So, again, I know they're day to day, and I'm hoping today we get good news and they can get ready to practice and get us ready for a Miami team that's really good.
And then
To
just
answer your question, basically, it's day to day.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the latest.
Yeah, and then just talking about Miami, they have a high-scoring offense. What will be the biggest test for your defense? If you guys are shorthanded again.
Well, when you look at their team and you see in conference play, they got 3 guys averaging basically 18 points a game. They score 80 points a game. They average 9 threes in that span. Shoot it at a high clip, 44, 45%. They're a very good offensive team. They share the ball. They're a great offensive team that we got to defend. And so we can't relax anywhere on the court, and we got to play with some physicality on their home court.
Michelle Kaufman, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald here. How are you? Happy New Year.
I'm good. Happy New Year.
Yeah, I just want to ask you, how do you think this Miami team compares with last year's Miami team? What are the differences? Without Isaiah Wong and Jordan Miller, how do you think that they've compensated for that? And do you see any weak spots? Is there anything that surprises you?
Well, first of all, last year's team, I think, went to a Final Four, right? So the rest is to be seen if they can duplicate that, because they are a really good team. They're a really good offensive team. But getting the Final Fours, that's what they're going against. That's what their measuring stick is. They are capable. They're more than capable on the offensive end. They share the ball. They brought in guys from other places that have had success, and they got a great coach. So they're a very good team.
I want to ask one quick question. How are they different with and without Wooga? Because Wooga Poplar has not played the last couple games with an injury. What do they lose when they don't have him?
Well, to me, that's your glue guy. That's a guy that brings great energy, that does a lot of different things. He's gotten better scoring the ball on the offensive end. He's worked hard since he's been there from day one to now to get better offensively. He rebounds. He's great in transition. Very good defender. He makes them a very, very, very tough team to play against, simply because he does all the dirty stuff and he's a winner.
Thank you.
Mike Barber, go ahead.
Yeah, looking at Matt Cleveland, what are some of the ways that he's enhanced or changed that team? It seems like he's fit in and had kind of that instant impact.
Well, obviously, when you look at, and I'm just looking at conference play, and he's averaging 17, 18 a game, that speaks for itself. When a guy can just plug into a system like that and have that kind of success coming from a great program under Leonard Hamilton, he's been a difference maker for him. He's been a player that helps them get over the hump, and they haven't lost a beat from last year to this year.
As you think of guys you are coaching, guys you've coached before in your career, been around, what are the trademarks that make you say, hey, that guy could be a coach when his playing days are over? What are things that jump out to you?
Few things. One, does he love what he's doing? Not like. He has to love it. As a player, you have to be a giver, not a taker. And in this generation, that's hard to do. So when you find young men that are givers, that they have a love, a passion for it. They love giving to their team. All that translates to coaching. Probably just a knowledge of the game, a feel for the game. You can, as a player, You can tell which players can end up being great coaches based off of what they've experienced and how they react to what, both good and bad, to what happens on the court.
Thank you.
Jody Demling, go ahead, sir.
Kenny, D'Lo obviously played for Miami last year, got his first start, the other day because of the injuries. What have you seen from him? And what's the kind of the next step? What do you want out of him and moving forward when his minutes are probably going to be larger the rest of the year?
One, I think D'Lo's, he's an integral part of what we're doing, Jody. And it may not show up in a stat sheet. I need a player that can pass the basketball. He can do that. I need a player that has an understanding for where to be on the court, spacing, unselfish, can get a tough rebound. He can do all of those things. I just need him to believe in himself and go out and play hard as he can. And if he makes mistakes, we can live with that. But just make him being aggressive, assertive, and confident. I love the kid. He's a tough-minded kid. He just has to know that we trust him, and that's why we brought him here.
That was my follow-up on that. You kind of mentioned it, but is he a guy that the stats might not show how good he does for your team on the floor? You know what I mean? He means more than just stats.
No question. He keeps things steady on the court. I would like for him to be confident in knowing that, look, if you're uncomfortable shooting a 3-ball, take a step in and knock down a long 2. I'm okay with that. I just need the ball to go through the basket. If you drive it and you're going against an athlete and the athlete may block the shot, give him a shot fake, go to the free throw line, knock down 2. Be willing to give up your body on a box out. Be willing to give up your body and take a charge. Look, D'Lo is one of those guys that's learning about himself and learning what his place is on a basketball court. But defensively, guys like D'Lo can have a super, super productive career just by being a positional defensive player. And that's what I'm trying to get him to understand. You don't have to be the active in somebody's face, but just being in the spot that you're supposed to be in and having great position is vital for you.
I got time for one more question from Brooks Holton. Go ahead, Brooks.
Yeah, Kenny, after the game Saturday, you talked about guys that needing to play confident through mistakes. I'm just wondering, with guys like D'Lo and that Caleb just, getting a more run now, just how big of a moment was that for them to be able to, to be able to play through those mistakes? And then, do you see their confidence growing? I'm after you guys that go back and look at the film of the game and try to correct the mistakes.
Well, I thought, Caleb did a very good job. He played with energy, made some mistakes, but he kept fighting through it, ran the floor hard, got a couple dunks, got a few rebounds. All of that is a positive. I just need him to get more comfortable being on the floor, be more vocal, be more energetic, play hard, play as hard as you can, as physical as you can, without fouling. And enjoy being on the floor because you're getting an opportunity to gain something that most freshmen around the country aren't getting, and that's experience, and you're learning on the fly. That's going to help you down the road, but that also can help you this season with being more comfortable being on the floor for extended minutes of time.